In this video, we're going to look at past tense regular verbs in English. On this first slide, you can see how infinitive verbs in English can be changed to the past tense. Play becomes played, like becomes liked, cry becomes cried, and stop becomes stopped. Let's look at 4 rules of how to help us understand this. The first rule for regular verbs is to make the past tense with most regular verbs in English, you add ed to the end of the word. Watch becomes watched. And here are some examples. Walk becomes walked. I walked to work today. Show becomes showed. I showed my ticket to get on the train. Rain becomes rained. It rained all morning. Learn becomes learned. I learned a lot at school today. Clean becomes cleaned. I cleaned my room before going to sleep. Wash becomes washed. Dad washed the dishes after dinner. Wait becomes waited. I waited at the bus stop for 30 minutes. Want becomes wanted. I wanted to see a movie, but the tickets were sold out. Need becomes needed. Matt needed to drink some water after his workout. And end becomes ended. The movie ended before I even arrived. Okay? So for most verbs in English, we just add ed to the end, and that makes it past tense. However, here's another rule. If a regular verb already ends in e, we just add d. So you still have ed on the end, but the e was already part of the original verb, and now we're just adding d. Like becomes liked. I liked your performance today. It was really good. Close becomes closed. I closed my eyes and immediately fell asleep. Smile becomes smiled. Kelly smiled at me and I smiled back. Type becomes typed. Chris typed his essay on his computer. Race becomes raced. I raced here as fast as I could. Care becomes cared. Sally cared for her sick puppy yesterday. Bake becomes baked. Mom baked cookies. They smell delicious. And escape becomes escaped. 5 people escaped from prison today. Okay, so if the verb ends in e already, you just add d. Here's rule number 3. If a regular verb ends in a consonant, that is any letter in English that is not A, E, I, O, or U. Those 5 letters are our vowels. So if it's any other letter and then Y, you take off the Y and add I-E-D. Okay? So if we look at this verb, cry, okay? R is a consonant. It's not a vowel, which are A, E, I, O, U. So we have a consonant and a Y. This word is also one syllable, one sound, cry. Okay? So we're going to make it cried, and we're going to turn the Y into an I and add ED. Here are some examples. Cry becomes cried. I cried after reading the book. It was such a sad story. Fry becomes fried. For breakfast, I fried some eggs. Try becomes tried. Chris tried to win the race. Carry becomes carried. Kelly's boyfriend carried the shopping bags for her. Study becomes studied. I studied all night for the test. Marry becomes married. My parents got married in 1975. Worry becomes worried. I worried all day about the results of the test. And finally, for regular verbs, here is rule 4. If a regular verb ends in a single vowel, so this is A, E, I, O, and U. Here's our vowel, O. And a single consonant, okay? And it's one syllable, stop, okay? Instead of my name, which is 2 syllables, Kendra, okay? 1 syllable. Then you double the consonant and add ED. So stop has a vowel, O, and a consonant, P. So we're going to add another P and add ED. Okay? So stop becomes stopped. The baby stopped crying when his mom picked him up. Plan becomes planned. The teacher planned a fun lesson. Hop becomes hopped. The rabbit hopped away when it saw me. Clap becomes clapped. The audience clapped loudly at the end of the concert. Jog becomes jogged. I jogged for 5 miles yesterday. Beg becomes begged. The boy begged his teacher not to call his mom. Fan becomes fanned. I fanned my face with a newspaper as it was so hot. Rip becomes ripped. Chris ripped his jeans when bent over to pick something up. And zip becomes zipped. I zipped up my jacket as it was cold. Okay? So those are the 4 rules for regular verbs in English to put them in the past tense. However, of course, there are some exceptions. We do not change the verb in these scenarios, in these cases. If you're asking a question, did is in the past tense. Did she go to school yesterday? If you're already asking the question with did, then this verb is not changed. We would not say, did she went to school yesterday? That's not correct. Did she go in the present infinitive form? Did she go to school yesterday? If you're making a negative statement, similarly, she didn't, did not. Did is in the past tense. So you're already in the past, so this verb you leave alone. She didn't, did not go to school yesterday. Anytime a verb comes after the word to, T-O, you do not change it. She wanted, that's already in the past tense. She wanted to go to school yesterday. And after modals, okay, could, would, should in English, she could go to school yesterday. It remains unchanged, okay? I'm going to make 2 additional videos with pronunciation and irregular verbs that you can check out as well. Thanks for watching.